Great. Okay. So in this webinar, I'm going to be discussing how exercise supports MS symptoms and overall well-being. I'm going to be talking a lot about strength, a bit about mobility, and a bit about balance. I'm going to talk about how to exercise to help you manage and reduce fatigue, how to modify your exercises, and there's going to be a little bit of practical stuff in there as well. So you're welcome to join in with that if you want to, and then I will leave some time at the end for a bit of a Q&A. So I go over this a lot. So hopefully you're all aware of the benefits, but I know there's no harm in going through it again to reinforce the behavior with it. So physical benefits. So exercise is hugely beneficial for everyone, but even more so if you're living with a long-term health condition like MS. So it can help improve your balance and coordination, which is often affected due to MS. It can help enhance mobility and flexibility, which makes it easier to perform daily tasks. It can help reduce the rate of the disease progression. It can promote neuroplasticity, which I'm going to be talking a bit about today. It can improve your energy levels, your stamina, and reduce levels of fatigue. It can help improve muscle strength and endurance, again, which is massively impacted due to symptoms. And it can also improve cardiovascular health, which can help improve cholesterol levels and reduce blood pressure, which often can sometimes come sort of as a comorbidity to MS as well. And then as well as physical benefits, there are also many mental benefits as well. So exercise can improve your mood by reducing symptoms of depression and anxiety by promoting the release of dopamine and serotonin. It can support thinking, memory, and learning, as well as help protect against cognitive decline. It can help improve stress management, and stress is a big one as well that can impact symptoms of MS as well. So being able to manage your stress levels through exercise can be really beneficial. It can help improve confidence and give you a bit more of a sense of control. So hugely beneficial, and if exercise could be packaged into a pill, it would be the single most widely prescribed and beneficial medicine in the world. So just remember, just think if you're struggling with motivation for your exercise, think back to these reasons why you do it, and hopefully that will be the thing that keeps you motivated, keeps you disciplined with it. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the different types of exercise now, and starting off with strength training. Strength training is absolutely essential for everyone. We should all be doing it. And this is because, so as we get older, both our muscle mass and our bone mineral density does decline. So that's for all adults, but this can actually often be accelerated in people with MS. So here's a little graph which shows what happens. So if we don't use our strength, if we don't use our body, we will lose it. So use it, otherwise you will lose it. And that is exactly what strength training is doing. It's making use of our muscles and our bones, which will allow us to do more and more in day-to-day life, whether that's day-to-day activities, or helping just to improve your stamina to get about in day-to-day life and improve your energy levels. So it's so important for everyone, but even more so with MS, because that can accelerate the loss of muscle mass, and bone mineral density as well comes along with that too. So strength training, it can make everyday activities easier. So MS can cause muscle weakness and fatigue. Strength training builds muscles, so daily tasks require less effort. It can help reduce your risk of falls. So MS can affect your balance, your coordination, and leg strength, but strength training can improve muscle control and stability to help you stay steadier on your feet, so you're less likely to fall over. But as well as reducing your fall risk, it can also protect you if a fall does happen. So the way strength training works is that it creates tiny damages in the muscle fibers, which results then in the muscles growing back stronger and larger. So that is going to help support the bone and the joint as well. So the more support there is around the bone and around the joint, the less risk of injury. But as well as increasing your muscle size and muscle strength, it can also improve your bone mineral density. And again, in a similar way to the way it improves your strength, bones respond to stress. if you put stress on the bone, and that can either be through kind of tugging, the muscles tugging at the bones, because bones are connected to muscles, or by impact activities such as walking, even light jumping, if you can do that. Not everyone can do that. That stimulates something called an osteoblast, which is the cell that increases bone mineral density. So strength training does improve both your muscle mass and your bone mineral density, which means that if you do fall, these are protected and you're at a reduced risk of breaking something or tearing something. It can also support your posture and mobility. So MS often affects core and postural muscles, which can lead to stiffness or poor alignment. And strength training can help you stay more upright and move more efficiently. And if you're moving more efficiently, that can help you manage your fatigue. So better movement can make day-to-day tasks feel less tiring, less effort. And while that sometimes sounds quite counterintuitive and exercise can feel tiring at first, we do know that stronger muscles do work more efficiently. And so everyday movements take less energy and it will allow you to conserve your energy throughout the day. So that is why strength training is so, so important for all adults, but even more so if you're living with MS. So what counts as strength training? So this counts. This is strength training at the gym, lifting weights. This counts, just doing some strength training at home. So with a resistance band, this lady's using the resistance band to create the same movement as the one in the first exercise. And strength training just with dumbbells at home as well. And just a quick question here. Give me, you can use the chat box here, or you can give me a thumbs up and thumbs down so I can see. Do you think the first exercise, so the one in the gym, is going to result in this lady having bigger, stronger muscles than the exercise where the lady's at home using a resistance band or a lady's using lighter weights? Give me a thumbs up if you think yes, or give me a yes in the chat box if you think yes. Give me a thumbs down if you think no. Let's see a few no's. Let's have a look. No. Okay, good. No. Good. Very good. All right, yes. So that is a no. So I just want to bust any myths on this here. So strength training, if you're lifting something heavy, it does not make you bulky. I often have people saying, oh, they don't want to work with heavier weight because they're worried about it making them bulky, and they don't want to do that. It's not the weight that you're lifting that makes you bulky. In order to actually increase the size or increase the bulkiness of a muscle, you have to be eating in a calorie surplus. So the way bodybuilders build muscle is built kind of that bigger bigger muscle, bigger appearance is by eating in a calorie surplus. So they're eating so much, so many calories to make them look like that or make them that strength. If you're not, then no matter the size of the weight you're lifting, it's not actually going to make a difference. It's not going to make you any more bulky. So that's good. I'm pleased with those responses. Never be afraid of a heavy weight. The more we can lift, it's always better. And how often should you practice strength exercises? I got here. I don't know. I think I've just drawn some lines on there. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know how I've done that, but ignore those lines if you can see them. So 2 to 3 days a week resistance training, targeting all the major muscle groups. So that means all the muscles in the upper body, the muscles in the lower body, your core muscles as well, which means everything around the torso, so your stomach and your back muscles. You want to leave at least 48 hours recovery between work in the same muscle group. So when you are doing your strength training, you do want to be fatiguing your muscles. Like I said before, that leads to those small damages in the muscle fibers. So the recovery process is actually just as important as the strength training itself. So leaving 48 hours of recovery will allow those muscle fibers to repair and grow back. That doesn't mean you shouldn't be doing any exercise at all. It just means specific strength training where you're fatiguing the muscles or pushing them to failure shouldn't be done back to back. Focus on good quality movements with perfect form, and this is really, really important to people with MS in order to reinforce good movement patterns. So I'll just give you an example. So if you were doing a bicep curl and you could do, let's say, 10 repetitions, good, and perfect form. And then because of a weakness somewhere, the arm was sort of starting to twist outwards or it wasn't being done with perfect form. That means you should stop at that point, because as soon as we encourage an incorrect movement, we're going to then encourage dysfunctional movement patterns. So really important to make sure exercises are done with good form. Another example might be with knee hyperextension. So if you were doing a squat and every time you're coming up, maybe the first five, you're able to do it maintaining a slight bend in the knee. And then after the first five, your knee started to extend too far back. That's the point you want to stop that movement, because we want to make sure we're not encouraging those dysfunctional movements. And in order to experience change in strength and muscle groups, in strength and muscle growth, you want to take each set close to muscle failure. So that means getting to the point where where you feel like you couldn't do any or many more repetitions. So it might be a bit of a burning sensation with a bicep curl. It might be that your form gets worse, or you're having to pull your shoulders up to do the movement. There are subtle signs that you can take that means that you're getting close to muscle failure. But when you get to that point of muscle failure, that is when you want to stop. So in the group classes that I run, I often will say, don't worry if you need to stop before I do. That just means that you've got to failure before I have, which is absolutely fine. We're all working with different weights. So maybe one person is working with a slightly heavier weight, so they'll get to failure at 30 seconds. Maybe someone's working with a slightly lighter weight, so they'll need to do a few more repetitions to get that to that point. So whether you stop a movement quicker than I do or after I do, that is absolutely fine. Okay, so a few questions here. So again, I'm just going to ask you, and for this first one, I'm going to do a demonstration as well. So you're welcome to join in if you want to. So the first one is a standing-based exercise. But which exercise is more effective for improving strength, muscle mass, and bone mineral density? So the first ones we're going to compare is a reverse lunge. Is this one more effective in improving the strength in the quad and the glute? Or is this one more effective? So we'll have a go. So anyone who wants to join in, you can come and stand up. So we'll do the first one. You don't have to join in. So for our first one, the lady is holding onto a chair. Well, I'm just going to let someone in before I demonstrate that. Okay, so first one. Oh, I think that was Lila knocking down the flag. So first one, she's holding on, going for a reverse lunge here. So you're stepping back, bending the knee, holding on, stepping forwards, then switching legs, stepping back. You can always take this at your own level as well. So go for a slight bend if you prefer, and forwards. And the second version is without holding on. Back. And then the other leg. Okay, so there are the two examples. Hands up or give me a yes in the comments if you think the first exercise is more effective. Actually, no, tell me what, yeah, thumbs up if you think the first exercise or yes, thumbs down or no if you think the second exercise is more effective. Okay, so if you think in the first one, a few with the, yeah, let's see. Okay, so go on to another example. Which one is more effective in improving strength, muscle mass, and bone mineral? Well, strength, particularly in the core, so our stomach muscles here, so abdominal muscles. Which one, the plank position or the toe taps where you're lying on your back? Give me a yes or a thumbs up if you think the first one, and a no or a thumbs down if you think the second one. Both the same if done correctly. Yes. For the first one. Okay. First. Yes, okay, so quite a few for the first one, for this one. And on this one, which exercise is more effective in improving strength in the shoulder muscles? So this is a shoulder press, the seated shoulder press. Give me a yes if you think it's the first one, or a standing shoulder press. Give me a no if you think it's the second one. Or if you think the same, you can say the same. Say the same. Same first. Okay. All right, so I'll just go into a little bit of detail here. So why harder doesn't always mean better. Your brain's main job is to keep you safe. So if something ever feels unsafe, uncomfortable, or overwhelming, your body will always hold back. So when your body feels stressed, such as losing your balance or feeling too hot, in pain, exercises can feel harder and more tiring, even if your muscles could do more. So this is why some workouts can feel exhausting without making you stronger. So there are various factors that can limit your progress. So first of all, considering balance. If you're worried about falling over, your body focuses on staying upright rather than building strength. Holding onto a wall or a chair can help you move better and feel stronger. So for anyone who had gave it a go with that reverse lunge with me, you probably would have found that with the one where you were holding on, you were able to step back further, you were able to take it slower, so you can really focus on capitalizing on that strength in the legs rather than having to rely on balance. Heat makes exercise harder, so exercising in warm conditions can increase fatigue, especially with MS. Cooler spaces usually feel easier and more manageable. So I'll give that example of the plank there in this one. So the plank, I think a lot of you did say you thought the plank was more effective actually in improving core strength. So when you're holding that plank position, you're actually limited by various other factors. So factors like strength in the shoulders, strength even in the legs, is fatigue in the body overall rather than specifically in the core. So actually on that one, that was why the toe taps or something where your back is supported, you're lying flat, can be more effective in targeting those abdominal muscles. Simple movements work best. So again, like that plank, it's quite a complex movement. It takes more effort to think about and control, whereas a simple, familiar movement can help you focus on the muscles that you're trying to strengthen. And then pain stops progress as well. So if something hurts, your body will automatically limit how hard you can work. So exercise should feel challenging and not painful. So when you are doing an exercise, if anything doesn't feel right for you, always feel free to adapt it, make it smaller movement if you need to, or change to a different exercise, because you should never be putting yourself into discomfort while you're doing it. And while there definitely are some exercises that are better than others, there is no real single exercise that's ever going to trump them all. So there is always an alternative. So for example, with an overhead tricep extension, if your body doesn't like that movement because it doesn't like having to have the arms right above the head working the shoulders as well, you can always do a tricep kickback. It's still targeting the exact same muscles. So still focusing on the triceps, but you're not having to worry about relying on keeping your shoulders up. There are just always different ways of targeting something. So just go, here are a few tips to get the most from your training. Use support when needed. So walls, chairs, rails, or machines can help you feel steady. This will allow your muscles to work harder. And this is not cheating. This is just being smarter with your exercise. Skip painful exercises. So change or avoid movements that can cause pain. Exercise in a comfortable temperature. So again, really important with MS because symptoms can often be exacerbated by heat. So try and stay cool while you're exercising. That might be by adapting the movement to make it a more isolated movement, so like those toe taps rather than a plank, or just using, particularly in the summer, something like a cooling pack, which will allow your body temperature to stay cool while you're still able to get the most out of your exercise. Focus on one goal at a time. So balance and coordination are very, very important, but strength is very important too, which is why training them separately will help you get better results from each. So that doesn't mean doing that reverse lunge without holding on is a bad exercise. It just means it's not necessarily the best one when you're strength training. So you can do it as a balance exercise or as a coordination exercise, but just try and do that separately. And with your strength training, try and get those at least, well, two, three if you want to, but at least one really targeted strength session a week where you're really, really focusing specifically on the muscles while you're not challenging your balance, or at least a few of those exercises where you're not having to worry about balance. So here we go. So the first one, that would be more effective in building strength in your quads and your glutes because you're not having to worry about balance. In the second one, the toe taps, where you're just isolating the abdominal muscles, would be more effective here. A plank is not a bad exercise, but it is going to fatigue the body overall. You're having to rely on your strength in your shoulders. It's a more complex movement, and your body, your core temperature is going to increase while you're doing it, which is why it's actually not as effective as the toe taps. And sometimes hard, well, that's why I said at the start, hard does not always mean better. There are often trends that go around with specific exercises and influencers maybe encouraging hard movements that you'll have seen, but it does not always mean better just because it feels hard. And never be afraid to do an exercise seated as well. Seated exercises can be really, really effective because they can help you focus specifically on the muscle that you're targeting. So that is why the seated shoulder press will actually help you build your strength better than the standing shoulder press. All right, who's heard of neuroplasticity? Just give me a thumbs up or a yes in the chat box. All right. So some people with MS can lose mobility with certain movements, and this is because damaged nerve pathways in the brain and spinal cord misinterpret or fail to transmit signals needed for coordinated movement. And neuroplasticity is the brain's brilliant ability to be able to create new neural pathways and strengthen old ones, so movement becomes easier and more automatic over time. So I'll just give you a few examples of this. So these are a few movements that are commonly affected in people with MS. So foot drop is one. That's the inability to lift the front of the foot. And that's due to a weakness in the tibialis anterior down the front of the shin. Another one is just simply lifting your legs up and down, so a seated marching movement or a standing marching movement due to a weakness in the hips. For some people, it might affect the upper body, so being able to bend the elbow, bringing the arm in a straight line, or even moving your hand and finger dexterity. Some people most commonly have it on one side worse than another, and some people do have it on both sides. But there are a few movements that can be affected. That doesn't mean you shouldn't keep practicing these movements. So neuroplasticity is amazing. And it means that by repeating the movements in a correct pattern, you can actually improve the connection and you can create better movements. And the way we can do this is repeat as much as you can. So these kind of exercises are different to your strength ones, or they can be the same, but you might fatigue quicker doing them because of that weakened pathway. But the more you can practice a movement, the stronger that brain muscle connection becomes. So with foot drop, even if you're using a towel, like in the first picture, to pull your foot up, have a go with the towel for the first few, then have a go with without a towel for the next few. Just trying to repeat as many as you can. Stop, rest when the muscle tires or when the foot tires, and then go again. Prioritize functional exercise. So try and practice real life movements that you want to get better at. So say walking was an issue for you and you were struggling to lift your knee up, then practice that one. And again, practice as often as you can. So unlike strength training, we don't need to rest 48 hours afterwards. With these exercises where you're not necessarily fatiguing the muscle, you're not getting to that point of overload, it's okay to practice every day, multiple times throughout the day, as often as you can, because you will strengthen that connection, helping with that neuroplasticity. Give it your full attention. Distractions make it harder for your brain to lock in a skill. Focus on the movement while you do it. So it might be tempting to have the TV on while you're practicing some of these exercises, but try and focus on the muscle, on the body part that's working while you're doing these exercises. Be patient. It can take months or even years, but every single repetition gets you closer. All right, so just going into balance next. Balance problems in MS can be caused by nerve damage in the brain, spinal cord, or cerebellum, which can disrupt the communication pathways responsible for coordinating movement and spatial orientation. This leads to dizziness, vertigo, and ataxia, and is often exacerbated by muscle weakness, sensory loss, or fatigue. But balance is something that you can improve. And similar to neuroplasticity, it's something that you want to practice. It's a type of exercise that you want to practice as often as you can. But it is a complex skill and does require a multifaceted approach. So I think people often get frustrated that their balance isn't improving, but they are practicing the same exercise over and over again. They're practicing something like a tandem stance or standing on one leg, or maybe holding on or not holding on, and their balance isn't getting any better. But that is because in order to improve it, it is important to take part in a combination of strength exercises. So the stronger your core is, the stronger your lower body strength is, the better your balance should be. It's important for your body to be flexible. So you need a good level of flexibility, particularly in the feet, the ankles, and the lower part of the leg. You need to practice balance exercises on their own, so like the ones that you might be doing already. So standing on one leg, doing a tandem, a heel to toe walk, and then also coordination exercises as well. So there's no one exercise that is going to result in your improved balance on its own. It's important to take part in a mixture of those. And then again, as well as practicing those different elements of strength, the different elements of fitness, you also want to vary your balance exercises as well. So here are a few examples on how you can vary it. So you've got your heel to toe walk, you've got your practicing standing on one leg, you've got tapping out to the side. So you've got one foot in the center, moving your foot to different angles. And why should you vary your balance exercises? So the body will adapt over time. Changing exercises keeps the brain and muscles engaged and continuously improving. A variety of movements stimulate the brain and helps create new neural pathways for better movement control. So again, that will help enhance the neuroplasticity, so that rewiring of the brain. And then also varying the exercises will help mimic everyday movements, making the exercises more functional. So another really good way of varying your balance exercises is not just practicing on one surface. So it might be tempting to practice on the hard floor where it feels easiest, but actually practicing it on the carpet or something like a cushion or a rolled up towel to create a more uneven surface. That's going to help replicate more of a real life situation. So your balance will be improved and ready for day-to-day life as well. Balance, it can be a really frustrating one because, like with any of those weakened pathways or weakened movements, it is maybe a little bit slower to see progress, but that is why practicing it as often as you can is going to help improve it. And then exercising to help manage and reduce fatigue. So here are just a few tips if you are struggling with fatigue and struggling to get as much exercise as you would like into your life. So break your exercise down into smaller manageable chunks and spread them throughout the day. And research has suggested that this can be equally as beneficial in improving your strength, improving your fitness, improving your balance. There's no harm at all in breaking this down. So rather than doing maybe like an hour's workout or a 45 minutes or even a half an hour workout, you can break it down into 2-minute ones throughout the day, 5-minute ones, whatever feels most manageable to you. Opt for seated classes. So I spoke before about how a seated exercise can be really, really beneficial actually. So if fatigue is something you really struggle with, then do all of your upper body exercises seated. So when you're doing a bicep curl or when you're doing a shoulder press, just do it sitting down because that can help you conserve your energy and then allow you to do the other exercises that you need to do standing when you can. So never be afraid to do anything seated or do anything holding on as well. Change the range of motion of the exercises. So if you are really struggling with fatigue, let's give the example of a squat and you want to do a lower body exercise. You don't always have to not every day has to be a perfect day. You don't always have to go as deep as you can into that squat. It can still be really beneficial to do a half squat or just a small bend of the knees when you're not feeling your best, but anything is always better than nothing. Use lighter weights or resistance. Again, not every workout has to be perfect. Always, if it's not a great day for you, or if you're feeling fatigued, or it's something that you struggle with all the time, just opt for lighter weights. And then consistency is key. So while you might want to break your exercise down to smaller chunks. It is really important in order to improve your energy levels and prevent or reduce fatigue. It's really important to stay consistent with your exercise. So, while not every day has to be perfect, that is why adapting your sessions or doing those shorter sessions can be really beneficial. And in our online program, we've got a large library of shorter length classes. So for anyone who is a member, if you are struggling with fatigue, then feel free to make use of these. They're all the things that we cover in our longer classes, but just broken down into much shorter ones. Want to get the most from your exercise. So if you are looking for more support, more guidance, then you are very welcome. I know quite a few of you are members here already, but you are very welcome to sign up to our 7-day free trial of the online program. And then included in our online program, we've got classes to improve strength and bone mineral density. And the classes that I run are designed to help you exercise smarter and not harder. So, like I went through, the exercises where you're holding on, or the exercises where you're isolating muscles to allow you to actually get the most out of it rather than fatiguing the whole body. This is what we include. And we've got varied exercises to challenge and improve your balance as well. So I'll often include balance exercises in our mobility and stability class, and then also in our build and balance class as well. And I will always make sure these are varied as well. So challenging those different components, and making sure you don't plateau as well. We've got mobility exercises to improve your range of movement and flexibility. We've got those shorter length classes for days that you're feeling more fatigued, or maybe as well just short on time as well. And then we've got videos in the library as well to address specific symptoms such as foot drop, balance, and weaknesses on one side. So if you do suffer with any particular symptoms, then you can always access the videos in that library to help you address those. And those exercises are designed to help with neuroplasticity. So we've got a lot of exercises focusing on strength and mobility around the feet and the ankles to address foot drop. So if that's of interest, then please do give the program a go. I do also run a couple of seated classes as well. So again, I think a few of you are here from those. We've got the seated strength class funded by the South Suffolk MS Society, and then the seated strength class on Fridays funded by the Bedford MS Society. So if those are of interest as well, please do get in touch. And then there are my details if you want them, but I will give it some time now for questions. We've got about 10 minutes if anyone's got any questions.